Hi, I'm Stephen Dawson, the Western Australian Minister for Science, Medical Research, Emergency Services, Innovation and the Digital Economy. Western Australia is the place for space, and it is with great pleasure that I invite you to join us for Western Australia Space Week between November 25 and 29, when three major space events will take off at Crown Perth. WA's Space Week follows the great success of the inaugural Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference, or IPSEC, last year, which attracted more than 440 international delegates. IPSEC brings together leaders from space and terrestrial industries across the Indo-Pacific and beyond to discuss opportunities for cross-sector technologies, innovation and collaboration. The conference welcomes attendees and speakers operating in sectors including space, resources, agriculture, defence, energy, advanced manufacturing, robotics and education. This November, IPSEC will take place alongside the 30th edition of the Asia-Pacific Regional Space Agency Forum, or APRSAF. APRSAF is the largest space agency conference in the Asia-Pacific, welcoming a global audience annually of around 500 delegates from more than 20 countries, including senior representatives from space agencies, government agencies, private companies and research organisations. Teachers and students are invited to attend the first Andy Thomas Space Education Forum, which will provide inspiration for students to become tomorrow's space workforce leaders. Attendees of APRSAF and IPSEC will also enjoy a 3-day joint exhibition with ample opportunities to network and exchange ideas. For more information and to register for the conference, go to waspaceweek.com.au. We look forward to welcoming you to Perth this November for this exciting opportunity to drive innovation, collaboration and technological transformation. Join us in Western Australia to see why our state is fast becoming a key Indo-Pacific hub for space operations, exploration and technology transfer. And remember, WA is the place for space.
Hello and welcome to this special webinar celebrating India's National Space Day as well, Australia and India, opportunities for space industry collaboration as well as cross-sector collaboration also. This is presented by Australia in Space and presenting the Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference with a principal partner Invest and Trade Western Australia and knowledge partner the Space Industry Association of India. My name's Chris Cubbage. I'm the Executive Editor and Director with My Security Media. I'll be moderating this particular session, just a brief introduction and the protocols, and then I'll moderate the speakers as we transition through this particular period. We'll have you for the next 90 minutes. This session is being recorded and will be made available on the IPSEC website as well, and Q&A welcome. So I've just put in the chat there in terms of the protocols for Q&A. Welcome to ask questions throughout, but we'll come to those at the end of the session also. If you're not familiar with who we are, Australia in Space and My Security Media, to stay informed, we produce the Australia in Space magazine, as well as Australian Space TV and a range of other news and content channels, space and defence and weekly newsletters as well. So welcome to check those out. But predominantly, this is all about the Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference and Exhibition being held at Crown Perth in Western Australia, 26 to 28 of November. And it's a celebration of India's National Space Day, as well as a welcome to Western Australia to the IPSEC conference. Our principal partner, as I mentioned, the Department of Jobs, Tourism, Science and Innovation with the Government of Western Australia, and foundation sponsor Business Events Perth in WA also. And I mentioned our knowledge partner for the conference is the Space Industry Association of India. The proceedings will go for the next 90 minutes. We're going to be joined by our Western Australian contingent there in India as well as in Perth. We'll then hear from SIA-India as our knowledge partner, Dr. Subbaraya Puvaluri, and then we'll have the Indian and Australian space agencies join us, as well as an IPSEC briefing from the conference chair in Perth. Then we have 6 companies providing 5-minute pitch sessions, and then a vote of thanks from the Director General SIA India, Mr. Anil Prakash. So set yourselves in, and this is also in high recognition and I think the timing of this is quite profound as well. National Space Day, Touching Lives While Touching the Moon, India's space saga, which was held on the 23rd of August. But I understand there's a week of celebrations and recognition of that. So congratulations to India, and it's obviously a significant thing to have a National Space Day. So congratulations, and we recognise that. I'm going to walk through. I'll come back to the individual speakers, but this is what we're going to be tuned in for the next 90 minutes. We're going to hear from Nasheed Chowdhury, the Investment and Trade Commissioner, India Gulf, with the Government of Western Australia, and Mr. James Ewan, Executive Director, Innovation and Emerging Sectors with the WA Department of Jobs, Tourism, Science and Innovation. We're going to then be joined by Mr. Sudhir Kumar, former Director of the CBPO with ISRO headquarters, and then Dr. Tony Robertson, Director, International Partnerships with the Australian Space Agency. We're then going to be joined by Dr. Subbarayo Pavaluri, President with SIA-India, Chairman and Managing Director with Anant Technologies, and a vote of thanks at the end of this session, Mr. Anil Prakash, Director General with SIA-India. And I mentioned we'll have a Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference briefing with the committee chair, Mr. David Mattray, who's also a joint managing director with My Security Media. Our 6 pitch sessions will be 3 from Australia. We've got LatConnect 60, Space Machines Company, and QL Space representing the Australian contingent. And this is going to tick over in a second. Here we go. And Mr. Vinay Simha with SkyServe, Mr. Sanjeev Kumar, Logic Fruit Technologies, and Mr. Moin SPM, Agnical Cosmos. So looking forward to that. They'll be taking turns with Australia and India throughout. As I mentioned, this is all in recognition and a warm-up, as an official warm-up event to the Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference. Without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Nasheed Chowdhury, Investment and Trade Commissioner, India Gulf, with the Government of Western Australia, and also Mr. James Ewan, Executive Director, beg your pardon, Innovation and Emerging Sectors, WA Department of Jobs, Tourism, Science and Innovation. I'll stop my sharing, and Nasheed, handing over to you.
Thank you. Kaya, Wanju, Namaskar, Ahlan, Vanakum, and very, very proud to be here. I'm the very proud Investment and Trade Commissioner for Invest and Trade WA, which is the international arm for the Government of Western Australia, sitting in the Department of Jobs, Tourism, Science and Innovation. And what a proud, monumental moment to be here as a part of what we've called the National Space Week in India. Can everyone see my screen? Chris, you can see my screen? Turning over?
Yes, all good to go.
Yep.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Awesome. So it's National Space Day on the 23rd of August, and what a monumental moment it was when Chandrayaan had landed. And I remember very specifically that in Perth there was a massive celebration, and this is what this relationship is about. It is about complementary, it's about trust, it's about dosti. And Western Australia is a region that's like no other. It's a trusted partner in the Indo-Pacific, and we have so much opportunity to leverage the time zones, the proximity, being the gateway of the Indian Ocean. And in particular, what makes us so unique in this Australia-India bilateral relationship is we are 1/3 of Australia's landmass, so you can almost fit all of India into WA geographically, but we're only 10% of Australia's population. So with a 2.9 million population, we naturally need to be very global in our outlook and innovative in the way we think and operate. And that's where a lot of the remote operations, the innovative workflow that comes in is a very natural part of how we operate in WA, which has built up a lot of the space capability that James will talk about. We're a $410 billion economy, and if I put that in comparison, this is as large as India's second largest state economy, which is Tamil Nadu. So it gives us this massive opportunity for complementarity and a lot of engagement into India. What makes us quite unique in the bilateral relationship is that the backbone of our economy is around natural resources. So we are home to 53% of the world's lithium resources, with the largest operating lithium mine in WA. On top of that, 50 different critical minerals and rare earths, which are also fundamental to grow the space sector. And we've got LNG reserves, we've got largest solar irradiance in the world, and, some of the most radio quiet zones in the world as well. So in terms of the actual focus of the government is, yes, we're the number 4 mining investment destination in the world, but our focus is about diversifying our economy. We were the number 1 mining investment destination. We're the 4th now, and that is because of a lot of the acceleration around decarbonisation that our government is undertaking. So we are focusing on energy, we're focusing on international education, we're focusing on tourism, creative industries, health, life sciences, defence, primary industries, so we're very well known for our wheat belt region, and space, which is one of our key sectors that are focused on, and that also has implications across these other sectors as well in terms of our focus. So in terms of how we sort of operate with Diversify WA at market, we're activating each of those sectors. And our relationship has been really looking at the Australia-India relationship that our federal government has been driving. Is like never before. It's such an opportunity to really leverage, and so much complementarity in the space sector. It's not competitiveness, and I think about the fact that, 2 years ago, when our Honourable Premier actually led the first super trade mission into India, and this is just off COVID and just of the announcement of the free trade agreement, space was very much a part of that 6 sector sort of engagement into India, and the first agreement between in the commercial sector of space between Skyroot and Space Angel was signed, and that was monumental for the Australia-India relationship. And I'm so proud to see how that has evolved, and you've got amazing companies who are going to be talking today, Lat Connect, Cure Space, about how they've expanded, about how they've leveraged the ISI grants, which are led by the federal government. So there is so much opportunity and engagement that we continue in the market. We also have, in terms of us as ITWA, we also operate across the globe, but I have the privilege of covering the South Asia and Middle East region. So we have an office in Dubai that's been operating for 22 years, in Mumbai for 27 years, so it was the first state to set up in India. And then we also have Chennai, which we call the baby of the family, and that's been almost 2 years. Our focus is threefold. It's about economic prosperity, trade investment facilitation, but it's also about supply chain integration. How do we support WA companies to understand this region, particularly India as a market for supply chain opportunities, and vice versa? It's about connectivity, and there's been a tremendous amount of work that my colleagues have undertaken with our colleagues back in Perth to be able to really activate that digital connection, the physical people-to-people connection, where our largest one of our fastest growing diasporas is from India, as well as international students are our largest, Indian students are our largest source market for international students. So that onflow of the fabric of our community sort of exists in that. And the third part is putting WA on the map, and a big round of applause really, and a gratitude to SIA-India, Dr. Subbarao, Anil Kumarji, Rajivji, Chris, David, for your support in pulling this together with my colleagues Chitra and Hiten. It's great to see this. James, you and Rod, in terms of your support in making this happen. And Sudhirji, what an old friend that we've had, who's been an absolute catalyst for the relationship. So in terms of things that are upcoming that I'd like to leave you with before I hand over to James, who will do a deep dive on why space, and it's more than 4 years. It's been a 60-year engagement on space for WA, is connecting with the ITWA hub. So not only do we have offices here, we have an amazing hub in Perth that sits at 1 William Street, and that is actually designed to be able to support clients coming into WA, and we work with them here offshore. There's also the Perth landing pad, which is a deliberate program designed to support scale-ups from all over the world, and India has been a very, very specific part of that, where it helps ease of doing business. So we'd love to see more Skyroots of the world and Agnikals of the world come into WA and expand their base there to look at the complementarity and better consumer opportunities into this amazing region. We also have a WA investments platform where there is space opportunities highlighted there, and there's an opportunity for you to go in and look at that. So please reach out to us. There's also a venture capital fund, which James will also talk to you about as well, which is currently open, which is an opportunity to look at partnerships into WA about growing the venture capital market. Bangalore Space Week. So we are supporting the federal government, DFAT and Austrade, in having a presence at Bangalore Space Week, and very much look forward to LAT Connect and Kiowa Space participating with us. And it's an opportunity for you to engage with us there. And also, last but not least, Space Week, which is definitely coming up, and that's just straight after the first Test cricket during the Border Gavaskar series. So if you are avid cricket fans, here's an opportunity. Come and watch a Test cricket and also join us during Space Week. So we have multitude activities going on, but we are here to help you and help your engagement into India and also into WA. And now I'd like to hand over to my dear colleague, James Ewan, to talk about space and what makes us so unique for this relationship. Over to you, James.
Thank you very much, She. I'll just start to share my slides, but while I'm doing that, obviously, thank you very much for all the participants. It's great to be here with such an amazing lineup of speakers and representatives from both Australia and India. So my name's James Ewan. I'm the Executive Director for Innovation and Emerging Industries at the Department of Jobs, Tourism, Science and Innovation, and I'm very lucky to have under my portfolio carriage of space. I've also been involved with the space, growing the space sector here in Western Australia for the last 4 years, directly prior to this as a director. So I'm very intimately involved in what's going on. Has that moved on, the slides?
Perfect.
Excellent. Okay, so just a quick overview. And again, recognising that, you know, Western Australia does have a long history in space, but obviously in particular areas, and we are, you know, at a really growing stage. And it's obviously great in terms of where our development is, and recognising that we have a global space market, that we really need to look to those partners and those that have done amazing and great things and have deep capability, such as, you know, India, in terms of helping us grow our space capability, but also looking at that new frontier of commercialisation and new opportunities in space, and how we can both work together to capture that new space activity. So just a quick overview, Western Australia's had an over 60-year history. A lot of that was ground stations supporting, you know, NASA missions such as Mercury, Gemini and Apollo. In terms of our industry capabilities and advantages, our latitude and longitude is, you know, we're ideally positioned for the global coverage of space assets and polar and sun synchronized orbit. If you look at a global coverage, Western Australia neatly fits in with Europe and US, where a lot of the existing significant ground infrastructure is, and our location neatly ties in that to provide a global coverage and network. And I'll show you later a slide with the amount of infrastructure we have here. In addition, our ideal environmental condition, and obviously lots of space and clear skies. And we also have designated satellite parks within Western Australia, which means obviously designated under our ACMA, the regulator for obviously ground stations, which means obviously that we have areas that are solely dedicated not only for laser communications with no-fly zones, but also again for antennas, telescopes and others, making that regulatory path much easier should you want to establish further ground infrastructure here. We also have a significant existing infrastructure, and that's much broader than just space. We have a lot of obviously high performance computing, which I'll touch on, a lot of regional capability in terms of developing infrastructure, fibre, power, and others, which you'll see the result of that is that we continue to grow our ground infrastructure and assets supporting global space missions and operations. We have world-leading capabilities, particularly in remote operations, automation and robotics, cybersecurity and high-performance computing. A lot of this has been built off our large resource sector and industry activity that Nasheed mentioned, and we are now taking and transferring that to space. Substantial capabilities are growing in the space sector, particularly around space systems and ground stations and astronomy and planetary research. We already have extensive partnerships with international agencies such as NASA, ESA, JAXA, POLSAR. Private companies have large assets here supporting their global operations. And obviously there's some activity with Israel and their upcoming human spaceflight program as well. We also have a very diverse economy, which provides opportunity for that downstream utilization of space and an intersect between the crossover of utilizing space technology here on Earth. We also have extensive research and innovation hubs, home to 5 universities, which all have various activities in space, and a very skilled and diverse workforce with over 130 international companies operating across space and space-related services. Just in terms of some of those key areas which we are focusing on within the specifically in the space portfolio. So space mission operations and exploration is a particular area of focus, obviously looking to leverage our world-leading remote operations capability. In particular, we have the Fugo Spark Space Automation AI Command and Control Complex here in Perth. That's taking terrestrial remote ops capability we developed, which will be supporting Intuitive Machines' second lunar mission at the end of this year, and they'll be actually taking control of that asset on a 50-50 basis with IM. So we'll be supporting the US's return to the moon in operations with that mission, and there are a few other opportunities in terms of supporting global mission and space mission operations that we are working towards. We're also home to extensive ground infrastructure, and I'll show you a map of that in a second. Emerging space systems and hardware is another area that we are really growing and focusing on, and there's a couple of slides later on which we'll cover on that. The space-enabled services and data analytics, again, very large landmass and a very, I suppose, data and connectivity intensive industries through our resource sector across all of Western Australia. So there's huge demand for space services and data, and we're obviously looking to leverage that not only to support our terrestrial sectors in terms of being more competitive and productive, but also then how do we actually create that to help grow the space sector through actually providing customers and demand for those services. Technology transfer is another key focus for Western Australia, and there's a couple of case studies I'll talk to. Research, training and education is another focus area that we're strongly focused on in creating that workforce to support Western Australia, but also within the region, the space expertise that we will need to continue to grow. This is just a quick map of all our infrastructure. I won't go through all of it, but you can see across the state we have a growing assets. A lot of the international companies have assets here supporting the global operations. We have NASA, ESA assets here. We have a lot of defense assets. So we also have very critical US assets. And in total, we've probably had an investment of over, or a commitment over the next 10 years of at least 4 billion in ground asset and activity that will be happening for the sustainment and operations of those as well. Just quickly, in terms of the space and cross-sector technology, it's quite a unique aspect of the West Australian space ecosystem. If you can see on the left, we've got the Valkyrie Robonaut, which is one of NASA's, I think it's one of 5 and only one of 2 outside the US. That currently sits within the Perth CBD Woodside Robotics Lab. And we have a deep partnership there with Woodside because they both are working towards the same objectives of having, I suppose, robotics operated or semi-manned and robotic operated platforms or environments. And they're working in partnership with that common goal. The second photo in the top left is remote operations. Can you see my arrow? Yep. So another one we're transferring, I've mentioned, obviously extensive demand for Earth observation with our large landmass and diverse sectors. Radio astronomy, so we have the SKA co-hosting the $3 billion square kilometre array project, which is the largest radio astronomy and most capable in the world. And we're also taking a lot of that, transferring a lot of that expertise from that into the commercial sector. We also have the largest planetary science research group in the Southern Hemisphere and a whole range of radio astronomies in our International Centre for Radio Astronomy, which supports the SKA. We have the largest private and research supercomputer in the Southern Hemisphere in Western Australia, both actively doing activities in space, and a lot of critical tech from laser communications, position timing to quantum computing as well. And just some interesting case studies, obviously looking to utilise space for methane monitoring, and Ruben from Lake Connect will talk to that. We also have a company here, First Mode, who are a space company who had been involved in the 2 Mars rovers for NASA. They actually established their first office out of the US, and they're focusing on taking that space systems engineering and technology to decarbonise heavy industry. Just my last slide, some key projects I'll point to that the Western Australian Government is involved in supporting. The Terranet optical communications been undertaken by the University of Western Australia and International Space Centre. We're looking at putting 3 optical networks, or we'll be putting 3 optical networks around Western Australia. We have a number of other optical networks already in place, and they're doing some world-leading research and activity in the phase stabilisation of that, and obviously partnering with companies like Thales and others, Kuhn Healy, to actually test and validate that from a commercial aspect. European Space Agency have one of their 3 deep space ground stations. The 4th is coming online hopefully soon, and that will mean that we have 50% of the deep space network here. We also have a number of other deep space ground stations, which we will hope to secure in the next coming months and be able to make announcements that will be supporting obviously global deep space missions. Fugro Spark, I've mentioned, are supporting intuitive machines, lunar landing as of next year. Curtin University's BINAR CubeSat program will be launching their BINAR 234 from the International Space Station tomorrow, hopefully, if all successful and no delay. So again, we're developing that pipeline of skills, but also the new technology in terms of some of the interesting activities that are done in the fully designed and built CubeSats. Rose Trailblazer, Australian Remote Operations for Space and Earth entity, is the forefront of, suppose, transferring our resource sector technology to space and also bringing that space technology back. And they're also one of two entities that are bidding for the Australian Trailblazer rover bid. We hope to be successful with that, and if so, we'll be building, designing and operating a lunar rover from Western Australia as well in the future. And LatConnect 60 SWIRSat, and I'll leave that up to Ruben to talk about, but another amazing project where we're looking obviously to build capability in satellite manufacturing, but also more importantly, taking that data and actually utilising that for industry in how we decarbonise and obviously to improve the way we do things on Earth. Just really quickly, just to finish off, I know we've got a lot of speakers. We will be releasing a space strategy shortly for Western Australia that shows our ongoing commitment to the space sector here, and that hopefully will be coming out soon. We also just, as Nasheed mentioned, announced a venture capital fund. We are going to be having more information on that on the 5th of September. So we're having an online webinar for those in that. We also have a new industries program. We have a number of funds to help startup companies scale up, commercialize, and support them through that journey as well. And I'll just leave it on that, and thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you, James. And let me just bring up so we keep smooth. This one here. Wonderful. Thank you, Nasheed. Thank you, James, for that. And interesting. So you've got a webinar next Thursday, was it? The 5th. We'll have those links in the show notes as well. Following that, we'll get as much information through on this particular session. But that was your welcome to Western Australia from the WA team. And we're having issues with screen sharing today. Without further ado, we're going to cross over to India and welcome Dr. Subba Pavuluri, President with SIA-India and Chairman and Managing Director with Ananth Technologies. It's a real pleasure to have you on here, Dr. Pavuluri, and over to you. I'll keep this up. You don't have any slides, but over to you.
Yeah. Right. Thank you. So, distinguished participants, good morning in India and good afternoon in Australia. And we are meeting today on the occasion of celebrating the India's National Space Day. You know, India had achieved the landing on the moon on Chandrayaan-3, and as you mentioned, touching lives, while touching the moon. That's a kind of a tagline that you have it, and we're celebrating the entire occasion. Entire India is proud of this. And thank you for organizing this seminar on the occasion of India, while India is celebrating the National Space Day. Thank you. The Indo-Pacific geopolitical significance underscores the importance of space capabilities and that particularly in the regional security. As nations expand their space programs, collaboration is very, very crucial to address the challenges like space debris, cyber threats, the militarization of space, and etc. There are very many things on that. And by sharing the data, transferring technology, and coordinating launches, and countries can significantly enhance regional security and stability while creating a cooperative and resilient space environment. And the strategic collaboration, when we are looking at between India and Australia, perhaps a few points comes to our mind. And one is of the shared vision, synergy, collaborative projects. For example, when you talk about the shared vision, India and Australia as a comprehensive strategic partners, already we have been into, we aim to secure a prosperous Indo-Pacific region through space technology. So this could this kind of a new dimension in the diplomacy of India and Australia in this regard. And the synergies, we have a lot of synergies between India and Australia. In fact, Nashid Chaudhary has already mentioned about a lot of synergies between India and Australia. And in this, if you look at it, Australia's advanced technologies, India's cost-effective space expertise, they create very unique partnership and for innovation between the two countries. Similarly, and collaborative projects as at India Space Congress 2024, recently we had it in Delhi, 3 key initiatives were announced. One is of a launch agreement for the second Optimus spacecraft, and the second one is the Space Maitri, the program between India and Australia, which is focusing on debris management and sustainability. And the third one is National Space Innovation Laboratory, various projects that have been announced, and India is launching the satellites under Maitri program, which was being done by companies like Space Missions, etc. And that way the collaborative arrangements are fully in place between India and Australia. And similarly, we're also looking at security framework between India and Australia in the space technologies. These collaborations aim to build a comprehensive security framework, boosting the technological capabilities and ensuring a stable Indo-Pacific region. That stability is very, very important for us to grow together. And similarly, when you are looking at regulatory and policy harmonization between India and Australia, in fact, already many policies of India and Australia are already harmonized. So therefore, harmonizing regulatory frameworks and policies between India and Australia is very, very crucial for smooth space cooperation. And towards this, any small hitches here and there perhaps has to be fine-tuned in such a way that we standardize the various regulations and reduce the bureaucratic hurdles and enhance the project efficiency and ensure adherence to international norms. And you know that India is always adheres to all international norms, whether it can be space or it can be defense, it can be any other sector in India. So thus we promote responsible space behavior and contributing to space governance, global governance. And similarly, growth of private space industries between India and Australia. So this collaboration brings in a lot of opportunities for both of us. India's emerging space startups and Australia's established industry create opportunities for innovation and commercialization, thus fostering into joint ventures, technology exchanges, and market expansion. This collaboration will drive technology development, job creation, and contribution to the global space economy. And as you know that India is going to get into the 5 trillion economy very soon, in which the space sector is going to play very, very key role in this. And similarly, space investments and Australia-India projects under Maitri program, we have something that has to grow to much bigger levels. The Australian government is investing about 18 million already. So this is roughly about 100 crores of Indian rupees in 3 ISI projects to tackle climate change, boost manufacturing, and advance AI. These initiatives involving Australia and Indian partners aim to integrate science and innovation into a comprehensive security framework and strengthening the Australia-India partnership, thus, as we go along. And thus, we are also laying the foundation for scientific collaboration. The India-Australia Space Partnership is supported by the Australia-India Strategic Research Funding also, which has invested over 100 millions in 350 plus kind of activities since 2006. So this is kind of a long relationship that we had between Australia and India. And the key research areas include AI, renewable energy. In fact, renewable energy is something which is very, very important between Australia and India because sun has given the abundant energy to both of us. And also in such a way that we Australia-India framework arrangements on cyber technologies under the 2020 Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. So thus we have very many things that to work together into this. And we have the enhanced strategic capabilities, and that is as we go along. And for example, ISR and PINT. And you know that we have the NAVIC already in place, and this NAVIC is to be expanded further. And that's why, again, the India and Australia can collaborate in order to create new navigational systems. and both in the space and also on the ground. And while India is attempting to full-fledged navigation system as we go along, and the ground capabilities also can be built together between Australian industries and Indian industries. And similarly, a lot of constellations of the satellites in the space. The growing commercial and military activity in space underscores the need for countries to balance their geopolitical influence through cooperation. India and Australia can play a very, very significant role in promoting peaceful and cooperative space activities. And similarly, when you look at the technological advancements, there are also a lot of opportunities between India and Australia, and particularly emerging and dual-use technologies. Collaboration can drive an innovation in emerging and dual-use space technologies, such as advanced communication systems and space-based Earth observations. And in the advanced communications, the requirements of India is to have the last mile connectivity. To achieve that last mile connectivity, a lot of our technologies, what's available with Australia, can be worked together. And there is another opportunity for us to collaborate fully. Similarly, technological expertise and the manufacturing part of it. Leveraging their respective expertise, India and Australia can foster technological advancements that benefit both nations and enhance their global influence, and thus taking the advantage of Indian expertise and Indian low-cost manufacturing scenario. And similarly, economic and commercial opportunities. In fact, B2B engagements, commercial contestation, scientific research advancements, joint research programs. In fact, opportunities are very many. Global research efforts to participate into the global opportunities, strengthening diplomatic ties, and multilateral and plurilateral engagements. For example, we can also look at participation in various forums such as QAD Quad, Admin Plus, and ASEM demonstrates. This all demonstrates a commitment to enhancing diplomatic relations and addressing regional and global challenges. Similarly, cooperative space environment and these diplomatic efforts are crucial for balancing commercial and military interests and maintaining a cooperative international space environment. And similarly, we have another opportunity in the space situational awareness. In fact, just now, Mr. James mentioned about the opportunities that we have in that collaboration, and in that situational awareness is one of that and that. And similarly, we have the enhanced SSA, operational security, SSA and very traffic engagement, management and engagement of that, and the regional stability and security, and there are a lot of collaborative efforts in this regard, and space militarization, and of course, this is where we have to respect the international agreements, and India is always respect the international agreements in this regard. Education and workforce development. In fact, one of the points mentioned by Ms. Neeraj Chaudhary was about the collaboration in terms of workforces in educational scenario and also working together in this capacity. So therefore, capacity building. I'm sure Mr. Sudhir Kumar will explain more about the capacity building and how the ISRO was looking at it and how already the Indian universities academics, the various things are already getting strengthened in this regard. And similarly, when you look at the competitive edge and developing a skilled workforce, is very vital, and that how to collaborate between Australia and India. There are many opportunities. You can look at in fact, even the universities, collaboration between Australian universities, Indian universities, a lot of collaboration can happen in this regard. And similarly, we can build up a lot of strategic partnerships. In fact, sky is the limit kind of a relationship between Australia and India in this. And I hope that this particularly whatever the initiative already taken by our SIA and the Western Australian the government, I'm sure will give you a lot of benefits to in terms of collaboration, and it enhances the capacity in the space sector, both in Australia and also in India. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pavluri, and the sky's the limit. That's a nice way to conclude that particular session. And without further ado, I'm going to hand over now to the representation for the space agencies. Mr. Sadhu Kumar, we'll hear from you first, the former director with CBPO with ISRO HQ there in India, and then we'll hand over to Tony Robinson. But Mr. Kumar, you're on.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for invite and very happy National Space Day for the India. It was the greatest moment. I was part of the team when that moments were cherished in presence of our honorable Prime Minister when he was here. It was fantastic moments. It cannot be explainable in the words. Such a marvelous achievement when other space equal or better spacefaring nations were, on the other hand, not able to achieve because of obvious reasons. Technology is the one which has got lots of uncertainties, especially space technology is the one like that. It is the greatest momentous occasion, not only for India, for the entire space community across the globe, because space will happen and cherish only the cooperations. This is one area without collaboration and cooperation, this sector will never grow, whether it is India or Australia or any country. That's what the faith what we have. With that note, I'll just make my remarks, especially on the governmental front, as Dr. Rao was mentioning up, how actually we have also been talking to the Australian industry, as well as Nashid. I was there as a part of Imagine 2 years back. And Tamil Nadu is going to be the very focused state now because the spaceport, the second spaceport for India, is going to come up in that state deep into the towards the southern tip of the India. So culminating all these things, let's say how actually I don't want to repeat the statements made by Dr. Rao where the cooperations are possible. Probably I'll touch in the other dimension where the launch capability can be built with the cooperation of between the two countries. First of all, the Indian industry has been handheld by ISRO, and Indian industry is much capable to carry out end-to-end operations. They have realized the facilities end-to-end, and they have experienced the end-to-end operations both in launch vehicle as well as satellite, as well as in the ground systems and downstream applications, value-added services. The example is Anand Technologies, where they have put the expertise in all the four areas. I'm very happy that Dr. Rao is sharing his thoughts, shared his thoughts. Second thing is the academic excellence. Academic excellence, ISRO has got a tie-up with more than 120 institutions across the country. In fact, I was 2 months back, I was heading this particular department, capacity building and public outreach, wherein we give projects to the different people. Researchers were encouraged to carry out the fundamental research in the institutes. Today, between Western Australia, University of Western Australia and India, there are ample number of possibilities for tie-up. Why I'm emphasizing this is, it's very easy to penetrate at the student education level, be it weather rockets or be it, let us say, atmospheric small rockets development and launching, because which will not be guided by any ITAR rules or any kind of, let us say, regulations. It is better to build such kind of initial capability within the industry, within the students and within the startups, to just get assembled a small rocket and get a small launcher fabricated within Australia, or otherwise India can help in building the launchers and export it, whether design related or realization fabrication related. So let us start some work from Western Australia, because Western Australia has got a huge potential resources, as Narshid said. See, this diplomacy, space diplomacy should act as a diplomatic, let us say, relation between two quad nations. Incidentally, both Polremo and we were very close. Both space agencies are very close, and both countries are very close. And the interests on the top and bottom are getting connected in various fronts. My proposal is, let us start, let us say, acting on some kind of small rockets as we do. When once the flare-up has started and the government, Australian government, has convinced that this particular dimension is very important for the sovereignty, protection of sovereignty, as well as what you call developing the capability in the space, that would be the first choice. Second, the Indian policies now enable Indian industry to transfer the launch vehicle to any foreign land and launch from there. So in fact, this is another capability. Let us say initial capabilities have to be built over a period of time. It is not that overnight the capabilities will be built. And the cooperation between Australia and India can leverage this kind of capability building within Australia. And initially for 5 years or 6 years, still the Australian industry catch up, the support can be extended. After that, we can have business ties. So this is my second, let us say, thought process. Of course, as Dr. Rao said, the Earth observation or communication, there are ample opportunities. In fact, I also have been talking to space missions, QL Space, Fleet, other Australian companies, and of course, Ram, Space Angels. Every week he talks to me on various aspects. Now, Kulashekharapatnam is a very potential area where the second launch port is going to come in a couple of years. If Australia is interested to have some tie-up with the ground systems and then supporting system facilities, now itself Nashid can talk to TIDCO and firm up what kind of, let us say, supporting facilities that Australian industries can come and invest and incorporate, so that they become part of the ecosystem in the years to come. Lots of opportunities are there. We are also trying to talk to the people on various forums, and we are open to have a discussion one-to-one, so that only in these webinars we can only express the intentions and possibilities of collaboration. When it comes to the actual truths, we can sit together and we can work, and how actually this can be made possible, whether it is government level tie-ups or agency level tie-ups or industry level tie-ups. We can segregate them, and appropriately we can move the papers and procedures, proposals through different agencies. And InSpace is very firm. Recently, our team has come to Australia and participated in the event. That was very successful event. So let us hope that this collaboration will cherish and will grow in the days to come. And Indian industry is ready to take up any kind of cooperation, collaboration, what you call framework with the Australian industry or in the Australian agencies. Thank you. Thanks a lot. All the best.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Sudhir, and do appreciate that and the insights. And Tony, bring you on and welcome to share your screen. Perfect. You're underway.
Chris, I'll just find the mute button. I seem to be having trouble with that today. Thank you. Good morning to Indian colleagues, I should say, and good afternoon to Australian colleagues. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present today. So I'm going to give you an overview of Australia-India Civil Space Cooperation. I echo a lot of the comments by Mr. Kumar that we do have a very strong bilateral relationship, both at the country level and at the space agency level. This is underpinned by our mutual approach towards growing and transforming our respective commercial space sectors. In particular, India has instituted a number of important reforms to their space sector and unlocked new opportunities for private companies to participate in their national space programs. From my perspective, the rapid growth of India's space sector has been truly impressive to witness, and this has led to significant opportunities for our two countries to partner together in space going forward. So at the government level, we have existing architecture in place to support the relationship, including our comprehensive strategic partnership, which aims to strengthen and expand partnership in space technology and research. And it's already delivering space-related projects, which I'll cover on later. As many of you are also aware, in 2023, Australia and India were busy negotiating a comprehensive economic cooperation agreement, which is a type of free trade agreement. Negotiations have recently resumed, actually, following the Indian elections, and we're optimistic they will lead to a successful conclusion of the agreement in the near term, which will further level up our relationship and provide further opportunities for trade. We also have a direct space MOU between our two space agencies, which focuses on civil space cooperation, which was signed in February 2021. And as my colleague James pointed out, Australia hosts some significant science and technology projects, including the Square Kilometre Array, hosted in Western Australia and led by CSIRO, which involves partners from around the globe, including India, to work on the world's largest radio telescope. Specifically on space, Australia is very proud to be supporting India's aspirational Gaganyaan human spaceflight mission. So we have an existing arrangement between our two space agencies that will facilitate tracking and telemetry for the mission on Australia's Cocos and Keeling Islands. And we're currently finalising a new arrangement to support with capsule and crew recovery for the mission. Should it be needed, we hope that it isn't, but we'll have that in place as a safety net. Along with the rest of the world, we absolutely wish India success with this inspiring mission. We also recently supported India's successful Chandrayaan-3 moon landing. Again, another groundbreaking and foundational mission from Australia that really demonstrated how far India has come and how far at the forefront they are of space exploration. And we were very excited to participate in that also. Lastly, I want to touch on our specific India ISI program, the International Space Investment Program, which is already delivering results, and it's framed under our comprehensive strategic partnership. I know some of you today on the call are involved in these projects, so I won't go into too much detail. I don't want to steal your thunder, but very quickly, I'll touch on some of the aspects of that program. So the Australian government has invested $18 million in 3 collaborative projects that will strengthen commercial links between our two space sectors. On this slide, it just gives an overview of some of the specifics of the program, including the funding amount, the number of applications we received. So I think it's worth noting that although we were only able to fund 3 projects, there was over 60 applications, high quality applications requesting $360 million in funding. So certainly there was a lot of interest in a lot of high quality applications, and we are very happy with that result. The program focuses on focus areas that were agreed between the two partners. So things like advanced manufacturing, position navigation and timing, and space situational awareness. Just to quickly highlight some of the key projects. So the Space Maturity mission, which is led by Space Machines, along with a variety of commercial partners, it will demonstrate on-orbit servicing and space debris mitigation technologies. And significantly, it will be launched on the new SIA-India Limited small satellite launch vehicle, the SSLV. So that will be very exciting to watch. Another project, I won't speak to this one because Ruben, I know you're going to talk to this one later, a successful LAT Connect 60-led project. And finally, a Skycraft-led project that's a collaborative project on PNT in low Earth orbit. So Skycraft will lead a project to propose a validation of a new position navigation and timing system. So these are great examples, tangible examples of the strength of our partnership, the commercial opportunities that are coming from our growing and emerging partnership. So finally, I just want to touch on a couple of key international events that Australia is hosting that will provide further opportunities for more collaboration and more partnership. So David and Chris will touch on the IPSEC conference, which is a sponsored event of the broader Asia-Pacific Regional Space Agency Forum, which is being hosted in Perth at the same time. So if you haven't booked your tickets already, I suggest you do, because you'll get, I guess, more bang for your buck out of this APRSAF than ever with IPSEC, APRSAF, and also a local Australian Space Forum led event. And then on to 2025, where Australia will be hosting the International Astronautical Congress. So we certainly welcome and invite our Indian colleagues to Australia for both of those events, and we look forward to hosting you and seeing you in Australia. Thanks, Chris.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Tony. Perfect segue to our next session. And I will only have my screen up for a moment. David, if you can prep as well. But thank you very much to Mr. Kumar there and Dr. Robinson from ISRO HQ and Australian Space Agency. Very good insights. And without further ado, we'll hand over to David Mattray, Committee Chair with IPSEC, for an IPSEC briefing. David?
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you are. Really great to have you all here. A huge thanks actually to SIA-India. We're thrilled to welcome you as our knowledge partner, and it obviously augurs well for what we're actually doing on the ground in India to foster an Indian delegation to come to what is going to be an amazing week, what we're calling WA Space Week, and that's a combination of the Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference, It's, as Tony just touched on, the Asia-Pacific Regional Space Agency Forum. And then there's also the Andy Thomas Space Education Forum. So that's 1 week, 1 place, 3 major events. So whatever you're doing in the space industry, we invite you to come. It's going to be a pretty terrific week. In addition, there's also a joint exhibition between APRSAF and IPSEC from a trade point of view. We'd also just like to do a quick shout out to our principal partner, the Department of Jobs, Tourism, Science and Innovation, and our foundation sponsor, Business Events Perth. In the spirit of collaboration, as everyone's talking on in this particular meeting, it's something we couldn't do without the support from the different stakeholders that we actually have here as well. So if you like, I might just run you through a little bit about what the week is, what the Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference is, and show you the opportunity. And at the end of it, there's obviously an invitation for you to please come and join us. So the week brings together these 3 conferences, and we know that we have delegates already coming from 20 plus countries. So wherever you're trying to do business, you can head down to one place, Perth, and it's not just about doing business with Australia or Western Australia. There's opportunities to do business with people coming from the other countries as well. So we're very much focused as a regional conference here. It's the Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference, and trying to create multilateral opportunities there as well. So let me run through actually what the Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference actually is. It's effectively about creating opportunities, cross-sector opportunities for space-enabled technologies into areas on Earth, such as agriculture, resources, looking at sustainability, looking at the applications of robotics and remote operations, investment, security, and so forth, and looking at how those industries can actually work together with the space-enabled technology. We ran the first one last year. We had a really great reception to that. And these are just some images. It's dynamic, full of energy, people enjoyed it, and we know that there's been really good outcomes. And what we're actually really interested in what we're actually doing is about outcomes. We want you to come, we want you to have a great time, but we also would like outcomes from this. And one of the nice things we do at the moment as we're developing the program for the 2024 Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference is we're looking back at some of the sessions we had in 2023 and looking at some of those outcomes. And we'll be presenting some of those because there have been some pretty good outcomes there. So the week also includes some technical site tours as well. So the conferences all at the one venue. On the Monday of that particular week, there'll be site sessions at the Australian Automation and Robotics Precinct, where you can see some in-person demonstration of robotics which are being used in, for example, space industry, but also in the mining industry. There's opportunities to see the Figaro Spark Remote Operations Centre, which James Ewan also alluded to is being used for support of overseas operations as well. And then the 2 universities, Curtin University and University of Western Australia, that are both in their respective rights, doing some pretty amazing things across the different touch points that we have for the space sector. Of course, there's a special relationship that Australia and India have in terms of our joint love of sport and then cricket, and it's a really great chance here to also catch up with the India cricket team for the first test, because the first test starts just before the Space Week here, and actually it's a 5-day test. And for our Indian friends, the location of this particular test is literally next door to where the conference is, so you can come to one place, stay at that particular place, and I'm pretty sure that's probably where the team stays as well. Head over to see some of the cricket for a few days, and then come and actually join your space industry colleagues. Now, what I might also do is I'd like to also share where you can actually go for some information with regards to the websites. We've got a couple of different websites to show you. One is the Space and Earth Conference. So this is the Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference website. It'll give you a great overview about who's coming and what you can expect to actually see. We're obviously very keen to support an Indian delegation. And so once you're in that particular site, you'll see that we're very focused on this. And that's one of the reasons we're putting this webinar together as well. And come there, you'll be able to see some details there. A bit of an overview about the week, as I mentioned, starting with APRSAF, the Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference, and the joint exhibition, and of course the education forum that's being run by the Andy Thomas Space Education Foundation. One thing I'd also highlight is in the eagerness we have to support an Indian delegation, working with SIA-India and the Invest and Trade Office in India as well. We've put together some support packages. We've put together 5 support packages valued at $5,000 each. That'll include some travel support and also some promotion of your business coming to Australia, where we can do some on-camera interviews in advance with what we call Australia in Space TV. And all those details are actually available on the particular website. So I encourage you to go to spaceandearthconference.com and have a look at that. And yeah, and again, just a big thanks to everyone for joining us. And we look forward to welcoming you to Perth in November 2024.
Well done, David. Thank you very much. I can see Dr. Rayo on the phone now, booking his flights straight away without further ado, given let's hope it goes for 5 days in terms of that particular test match, and we'll see how we go after that, but very much good alignment and timing. Okay, so now we get to the front line, I suppose, in terms of this particular session. LatConnect 60 has been mentioned a couple of times already, and we're going to go Australia, India, Australia, India, Australia, India, from back to back. So we're going to start with Ruben with LatConnect 60, and then we'll come back for the Indian representation. So each of the pitch sessions, you've got 5 minutes. I'll be ruthless in terms of the timing because we've got half an hour to go. And if you can get your slides ready as well. So Ruben, if you can come up on screen, and welcome to pitch us on LatConnect 60 and what you're doing.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Chris. Do I share my screen now, straight up?
Go for it. Yep.
Okay, thank you. 1 second. Just let me know if it's up.
Well done, mate. Go for it.
Great. Okay. Firstly, thank you, everyone. And thank you, Chris and David, for the opportunity to speak here today. I'm Ruben Rajasingham. I'm the COO and co-founder of LatConnect 60. Venkat, the other co-founder, and I established LatConnect 60 in Perth, Western Australia in 2019. We are now a public unlisted company and have our corporate headquarters in Perth and also have a regional office in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. We currently have a total of 30 staff across these 2 locations. Our company focuses on space-based Earth observation. And from very early on in our inception, saw the disaggregated nature of the Earth observation market and the difficulty in data access. As such, our focus has been on the integration of the Earth observation value chain to seamlessly connect the acquisition of data to data processing and analytics, and to deliver the final insights. This slide depicts what we broadly do. We have built strong partnerships to access satellite capacity from existing multispectral satellites, and we manage the processing and homogenization of the data sets to provide analysis-ready data with minimal to no restrictions, but also take it right through to insights development, particularly in the sectors we are currently focusing on, namely agriculture and sustainability, particularly decarbonization, whether that's emissions monitoring, as well as the monitoring, reporting, and verification on carbon projects, so carbon sequestration and the validity of carbon credits. We serve clients across Australia, Southeast Asia, and also to a small extent to India, which we hope to grow in collaboration with the dynamic space and Earth observation companies we see all across India. Starting, of course, as everyone has mentioned, the support we have received through the Australian Space Agency, the SIA-India grant. We're able to now build our own Pathfinder microsatellite, the first of a constellation in planning to focus on emissions monitoring, particularly methane, and augmenting our agricultural solutions with biomass moisture data. The satellite will carry 3 sensors, a multispectral camera and 2 shortwave infrared cameras, with the aim of providing a 4-meter spatial resolution shortwave infrared dataset and a 1.5-meter resolution visible near infrared dataset. We'll have up to 4 shortwave infrared bands and up to 8 VNear bands in totality. When it comes to space, India is really at the top of the game, and we are very grateful for this opportunity to be able to work with some of the best minds in the industry. We are excited to be collaborating with India on this mission, where we have partnered with Skyroot, who will be launching our satellite. This will be the first, and based on our market demand projection, potentially see us launching many more to fill our constellation. Our Earth observation focus is primarily in the APAC region, and access to more mid-incline launches would be our focus to get us better revisit and regular cadence of imagery over our collective areas of interest. We hope over time to broaden our engagements and collaborations in India to build capability in both Earth observation, both from a launch and satellite build perspective, but also on the provision of high fidelity data and the development of Earth observation insights that is critical. That is a critical need in India and Australia. It is my hope that through this mutual need of critical Earth observation data, we can continue to jointly build capability to serve both our commercial interests, as well as extend it to closer bilateral ties through joint ISR opportunities of our mutual areas of interest and concern. I look forward to meeting you all in November at the IPSEC and APRSAF conferences. And if you are going to be in Bangalore for the conference there next month, please do reach out, as we will be there also. Thank you very much for your time.
Well done. Thank you, Ruben. Great work. And we'll move over now to the Indian session. And our first speaker for India is Mr. Vinay Simha, co-founder and CEO with SkyServe. Vinay, do you want to come up on?
Just
okay,
a second,
Ron,
I'm just...
go for it. Yeah, start again.
Is that screen visible?
Perfect, go for it.
Yeah, hi. Good morning all. Good afternoon to our fellow friends in Australia. We are SkyServe, an edge computing and AI technology company for satellite platforms. It's music when Ruben talks about insights being delivered, because we are pretty much an insights as a service company. And it's great to explore synergies like what Nushad mentioned and what Dr. Pavluru mentioned and Mrs. Sudhir also mentioned, giving the context of what all is possible between the two countries and what's a mutual path of collaboration. Lastly, what SkyServe does is it's an edge computing platform on satellites, enabling analytical providers and industries to deploy applications for Earth observation and for space-based solutions. Why are we trying to do this? The fundamental thing is the satellites, the way it's been built for the last 40, 50 years have not nearly changed. They have been generating a lot of data, but not helping with much of inferences from the end user perspective. There are limitations in data sizes and downlink rates, and there's prohibitive cost from ground station and processing. This is what gets us to the fact that how should we build out a system that's on the edge, on board these satellites, which can be smart and sustainable. It can help in smarter capturing, smarter processing, and dissemination. Today, SkyServe Storm, our edge computing platform, covers a series of sensors and is on board a couple of satellite platforms, delivering value for our customers. So what do we do in SkyServe Storm? We are the data processing pipeline on board the satellites. We help geospatial applications that are typically on the ground move up to get this processing on board the satellite itself. In this case, you should treat us as an app store on board the satellite, where we reduce your cost of inferencing time and making it scalable and affordable, all in very, very minuscule efforts. That's what we do at SkyServe Storm. To do that, this is the hardware that we have first built out. That's our edge computing hardware, which also comes with a software along with that. That's the one that we upscale. This is further on. We have now built software that can work on other hardwares as well. So we are hardware agnostic from that perspective. We cover GPU, CPU, VPU, or FPGA from the data processing stack. To enable geospatial companies or analytical providers to put their models up in space, we have built out a platform on the ground called Surge, where we deploy these applications of our partners. We help them develop that, test that, calibrate that for space, and push this out for the satellites as well. And they can also update it and task it through this. This gives the analytical companies or geospatial firms opportunities to choose revisits, AOIs, type of sensors, everything will be taken care of it at the back end to just make sure that they can seamlessly get the inferences in rapid time. Surge is this another view of the platform where partners deploy their applications. It's a self-serve platform. They can test it and optimize their applications to work in space. Further on, we've also built out a dashboard, which is called Earth Sites, where there's for agriculture, climate change, or risk. They can look at a particular location and they can get ready inferencing across any of these to visualize and understand what's happening in a particular location. And this can be customized to any location that can work as a dashboard for users who would like to understand what's happening in a particular area or what's happening in an area of interest or a city. From a criticality of application, we service for disaster management, emissions, maritime, and for mining. Currently on the mining, on the maritime, we are processing about 25 to 28 million data points a day on the maritime and to understand what's happening from a supply chain, energy security, food security for our customers. And we are looking to see how we can support in this regard with our Australian colleagues as well. With regard to missions, we have completed, we have got 2 missions that happened here earlier this year, on the Transporter 10 and on the other flights. Matterhorn is one of the flights, Denali is another one. A2 is a flight that we are doing on PSLV's C-59. That's an upcoming opportunity. And these are the flights, 2 of them are done, 3rd one being planned as we speak. On the other missions that we are doing, we are planning about 18 more missions in the next 15 months across partners. And we've looked to see how we can have work with partners in Australia and deliver value for the users. From recognitions and awards, we were recognized as top 100 geospatial companies that matter for 2024. We were awarded for AI and innovation for the Innovation at Bell Awards. We were also awarded for Spark Startup of the Year, also highlighted for our work by other international forums as well. That's it from our end. Happy to partner, happy to collaborate with our fellow counterparts. Thank you.
Well done, Vinay. Thank you very much. Very impressive mission program there. And I've also just realised for our pictures, we're going off screen, not the running sheet in terms of back-to-back. So just keeping you on your toes there as well. Let me just go back one. Thank you. So Ariane, you're going to go after the next session. So Raj Kulra-Restler, who is the CEO and founder with Space Machines Company, recently joined us today. So Raj, do you want to come on screen?
Yep. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Do you want to come up on screen? There you are. Great. Great to have you back, Raj.
No worries. I'm just going to share the deck quickly. Just bear with me. Sorry, I was not expecting that.
Sorry, that's okay.
I was going with the run sheet. So
yeah, that's okay. That's the beauty of a pitch session. We're happy to go to Ariane if you would prefer.
That would be great. I'll just get myself organized. Apologies, everyone.
No, my fault on that one. I'm only the moderator here. Ariane, do you want to come up on screen? Because I know you don't have slide decks and QL space.
I was just going to have a little chat. It really is such a privilege to be a part of this discussion on the opportunities for collaboration between Australia and India in the space sector. So my name's Ariane and I'm the Chief Operating Officer at QL Space. And I just wanted to share a bit today about our journey and really the profound impact that partnerships with Indian space companies have had on QL Space and where we've got to today. So QL Space was founded with a clear vision to provide innovative Earth observation data solutions across a wide range of industries. Our founder Raj is an example of an Indian student migrant who came to Australia for higher education and ended up staying to add skills to the Australian economy. This is increasingly a common circumstance with India currently Australia's second biggest education market and Australia the second most popular destination for Indian students after the United States. And this has really helped Australia build links with the next generation of Indian leaders in business and other sectors as well. So like any startup, QL Space faced the typical challenges of entering a competitive global market with limited resources and capabilities. However, we strategically turned to India, recognising the country's mature space ecosystem as a valuable partner in our growth trajectory. One of the most important lessons, I think, from QL Space's journey is the fact that the value of international cooperation extends beyond government-to-government agreements. But don't get me wrong, official frameworks and regulations certainly play a critical role in facilitating these partnerships. But it's also the direct industry-to-industry collaboration that has truly driven innovation and expansion for QL Space. By partnering with established Indian companies, QL Space has been able to learn from the best, so to speak, and leverage their expertise, infrastructure, and market access to rapidly advance our technological capabilities and broaden our service offerings. You know, this kind of knowledge and experience isn't something we can easily gain in Australia because our space ecosystem just isn't as mature yet. These collaborations have enabled QL Space to scale our operations much faster than we could have been able to do possibly on our own. And we have been able to use India as a launching pad to other global markets. In particular, it's allowed us to expand into the Middle East. At the same time, these collaborations have also provided our partners with new market opportunities, creating a win-win scenario for all parties. However, it's always a however. It's important to also acknowledge that these successes are not without their challenges. Last year's federal budgetary cuts to Australia's space programs, for instance, highlight the vulnerabilities, particularly that early stage startups like QL Space face. Sustained investment and supportive policy frameworks are essential to ensuring that the potential of such international partnerships are fully realised. While the private space sector is certainly growing, the reality is that without adequate funding and government support, the opportunities for innovation and expansion will be significantly constrained. This is what's really great, though, about the work that James and his team are doing with the state government here in Western Australia and the steps that they are taking and putting into place to really support and get behind the local space industry here. To finish up, I would just say that in the age of space commercialization that we're in, we are really seeing that the benefits of these technological advancements are increasingly unevenly distributed, with smaller aspiring space nations often lagging quite significantly behind developed space nations. What QL Space's case study really shows, though, is that partnering with Indian companies has allowed a small Australian startup like us to tap into a well-developed ecosystem, gaining access to advanced technologies, cost-effective manufacturing, and a wealth of expertise that would have been very difficult to acquire domestically. These relationships underscore the importance of knowledge transfer and the role of established space industries like India in mentoring and supporting emerging ones like Australia. And overall, how that really demonstrates the way emerging space nations can accelerate their industry development by aligning with more established spacefaring countries. Looking forward to seeing you all in November, and to anyone in BSX, we'll see you there shortly.
Wonderful. Thanks, Ariane. Perfect. And we're going to hand over to our Indian partner next. And Sanjeev, apologies for that. Last one, you were ready for the last one.
No worries.
And just for the audience, before Sanjeev starts, we are welcoming Q&A. So we're going to run all the Q&A at the end. So if you've got some questions, welcome to fire them in, particularly from these companies if you want to get in touch. But Sanjeev, over to you, my friend.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning in India. Good afternoon in Australia. Sanjeev this side, Sanjeev Kumar, one of the co-founder and CEO of Logifruit Technologies, and I thanks SIA to give us a chance to represent Logifruit Technologies to this larger audience. So Logifruit Technologies is about 250 odd passionate people, working together. Of course, not all, but yeah, let's see, together as a team for the last 14 plus years, developing key building block of multiple use technologies that can be used, that is being used actually in aerospace defense, test environment, and semiconductor. We are working with the various sort of multinational clients where we're building these technologies, and we're also developing strategic product for Indian aerospace and defense industry. In itself, I mean, we are actually developing embedded computers, right? These computers are very custom designs using FPGAs, CPUs, GPUs based on the requirement. And in last 15 years, we have developed more than 100 such solutions, which has become sometimes the complete system and sometimes part of a bigger system. And I'll show you some of those in pictures. Starting in 2009, doing small work, and then we have actually developing various big complex systems that has been delivered to various government agencies and as well as of our multinational clients like Keysight, Intel, AMDs. One of the key differentiations basically with Logifruit is our people basically. I mean, all the founders you see are from good colleges, had worked with multinational companies and started this organization, of course, without a big dream, to frank. I mean, I see people companies starting with a big dream. Of course, I don't think that we had a big dream, but we have been learning and we have been evolving every few years. And I think now we're still bootstrapped 15 years, but now we see tremendous opportunities for our work, and we are in process of raising funds. Some of the system, I mean, just to show you, I mean, some of those systems are that I'm showing in my screen is single board computer. This is one of the work that was developed under funding from a technology development fund scheme. Logifruit Technology was the first company to deliver any solutions in TDF scheme. And after about 2 years of wait, we have received the production order basically of the single board computer that has been selected in one of those upgrade program for one of those Air Force plant. We have developed some space grade electronics for one of the labs of DRDOs. We have limitedly worked in the space till now, but yes, we have been aggressively working with ISRO. So some of the systems that we have developed for ISRO's like RF recorder, replayer, a high data rate download system. Recently, we developed, or not recently, actually, it took us about 4 years to develop this scalable data queuing system that has been already field tested by I think the lab is in Mahendragiri. It is IPRC lab of ISRO, where the various parameters of rocket launching will be captured by our system and will be used to showcase those various parameters on a big screen. Now coming back to our USPs, basically, we are, again, I said, kind of a sector agnostic, but with a deep horizontal skill set and developing FPGA-centric system. We are partners to all 4 major FPGA companies. We're premium partner to AMD/Xilinx, gold partner to Ilten/Altera, and we're working with Acronix and Lattice together. I think I would say we are one of the best team, not only India, but across the world to develop FPGA-centric systems, right? And of course, when I say we are not developing FPGAs, we are actually using FPGAs as the I would say blank sketch, and we are kind of drawing various images like various systems. Not only the FPGA, but also on the hardware side and so software side, we have a very capable team. I mean, that is what you need basically to develop a complete system. These are the leadership basically of my company. All the engineers, all the people you see in the hardcore engineers. There is nobody on the business side. It's only me, who do personal. But I also come from a deep technical background. I have developed hardware and FPGAs myself. I think I've already taken my 5 minutes, so I'll just conclude basically. So I think in the end, if you are developing a system, you want to partners basically with us. If you need building blocks of a system, custom building blocks, we are here. And again, I thank you SIA, to invite us to present here at this event. Thank you.
Wonderful, Sanjeev. Perfect timing, and thank you. You did scare me when I saw the slide deck, but again, a lot of detail there. So for the audience who want to reach out and find out more, that is there. Okay, Raj Kulthresna, and who very famous here in Australia, particularly here in Sydney as well, CEO and founder of Space Machines Company. I'll hand over to you, Raj. You're ready to go. Go for it. You muted, Raj. Sorry.
Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can. You're away.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, we've just, I've got Dr. Suba. I'm just going to, all good. Go, Raj.
Okay, so thank you for having me on this forum, Chris. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO for Space Machines Company. A little bit about the company. We're 45 strong, based between Australia and India. We do all of our assembly, integration testing in Sydney, mission control in Adelaide, and we've got a R&D component manufacturing subsidiary in India, which we established back in 2021. So a little bit about what we do. We built Australia's largest orbital servicing vehicle over the last 3 years, which we launched early in March. That was an amalgamation of a lot of work that was done between Australia and India over the last 4 years. And we're proud to say that, it's something that we built on the legacy of what India has done as far as the space industry there is concerned, and everything they've learned over the last 40, 50 years. And in Australia, as we emerge with the nascent space industry we have and start growing the capability we have here. The mission that launched was Optimus. It was a spacecraft that was 270 kilos, with the premise that it had the ability to maneuver in orbit, but also in the process prove out our capability to build satellites of this scale. So a little bit more visuals on the spacecraft itself. It was on Transporter 10 early in the year in March. So I think about the business and what the company is about. As we get more commercialized in space with the drop in access, the cost to access space, there's a massive amount of congestion. Over the next 5 years, there's going to be 4 times as many satellites as there today. And with that comes a whole lot of problems. And as much as we can depend on ground-based technology and space-based imaging, we're going to need a way to provide that first response if something goes wrong, whether that's commercial or whether that's national security, the ability to very quickly respond to events that are occurring in orbit, whether that is to inspect something, to monitor it, to repair it, to upgrade it, to provide more insight and identification and classification of objects. You need a capability in space, and very similar to what we do on Earth with roadside assistance in space. So we're building a a network of orbital servicing vehicles that will provide this kind of capability in orbit, and hopefully address both commercial customers, but also national security customers. So very quickly about, and on that journey, last year, we put a proposal into Australian government through the ISI program to really look at a mission that would align India and Australia from a strategic perspective, from a technology and commercial opportunity, but then also learning and sharing of knowledge, which we call Space Mate 3. So I want to spend a couple of minutes just talking about what Space Mate 3 is. We were successful in that grant process in the first half of this year, and with the support of Australian government, that allows us to bring this mission to life. So I think in terms of project information, the mission is based around sharing data and technology around space debris management and really looking at sustainability as a common goal across the two nations, and how do we use that as a way to promote commercial opportunity, but also technology collaboration. And so as part of this mission, we're going to be building an Australian-built servicing vehicle that will fly on dedicated SSLV launch in late 2026. And so the overview of the mission is to really go out and close range inspect space debris. So we're in the process of identifying good targets for that debris inspection at the moment, that the spacecraft, once it's launched from SSLV, will go out and inspect and provide more data on how it's moving, pattern of life, what is the pose, what would it take for us to either remove it or by virtue of a future technology, be able to deal with that kind of debris in other areas. The launch, as I mentioned, will be a dedicated SSLV launch, and some of you might have seen that in the last couple of months, we've announced the procurement of the dedicated SSLV rocket with NSIL, and the incredible support that we have received from NSIL through ISRO and some of our partners in India. So in terms of what Optimus Block 2, which is the next version of our spacecraft, is carrying, if you'll notice that we're carrying a lot of sensors to be able to characterize the debris. So a variety of cameras, a variety of sensors, also an ability to provide that data through a secure link to both our partners in India and Australia. And these are some of our partners. I saw some of the slides earlier on, but I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge both our Australian partners, commercial partners, Anantha Technologies, and I see Dr. Pavluri is here, Digantra and NSIL, obviously, and then on the Australian side, Advanced Navigation, Geospace, and Leo Labs. We're also working across the two countries with collaborations from the various Australian universities and also looking to partner with IST in Bangalore. In addition to that, we've also, as part of this mission, commissioned a more strategic partnership with ASPI to really help us understand what is the value and what are the areas for collaboration between India and Australia as far as space is concerned. So I think the overall objective of this mission is to really, on strategic, commercial opportunity and technology collaboration, figure out what's the right way for companies on the Australian side, but also on companies on the Indian side to collaborate with each other. So we're hoping that some of those objectives through this grant program we're able to meet and fly the mission in late 2026. So that's us.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. That was great, and thank you. That ties up the Australian representation. We've had LatConnect 60, Space Machines Company, and QL Space, and we've had two, SkyServe and Logic Fruit Technologies there in India. Mr. Moyne, are you on screen? I haven't heard from you yet. Can you raise your hand or come up on screen for Agnical Cosmos? I know we've had a change in speaker.
Hey, hi, I'm here actually.
Come up on screen.
Yes.
Or welcome to share your screen.
Yeah, let me do that, right?
You're in under a different name. I thought it might have been you.
Oh, yeah, it's
So
It's
Mr.
my
Moyne,
chief of staff.
SPM,
Yeah.
co-founder and chief operating officer with Agnical Cosmos. Thank you for joining us.
So yes, thank you
And
for
just for
having me
the,
here. Thank you for
sorry,
giving me
just for
this
the audience,
opportunity.
we're going to go over time, so please bear with us. We've got another 5 minutes.
Sure. Yeah, I'll try to keep it short. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm Moin. I'm one of the co-founders of Agnicool. To just start with, like I'm from this company called Agnicool, where we launch vehicles anywhere, anytime, affordably. We are trying to stay true to our tagline. That's exactly what we are trying to do here. So just to give you an example about, like, in layman language, it's like we do exactly what SpaceX does, but 1/4 of its size and 1/50th of the time that we take to actually take satellites to orbit. That's exactly the target that we have. To do this, like, I can start by telling you the amount of members that we have. We have 300 members in the company today, where we have almost 45 to 50 scientists across from ISRO and DRDO, that is the Space Research Organization and the Defense Research Organization of India. And we have a fairly young team. The average age group is around 24. The reason why we want them is around for a specific reason about having technology and innovation as a key integral part of it. We want to build rockets, but at the same time, we want to build 21st century rockets, not build the same thing again and again. So that is one of the reasons why we had a fairly young team along with us. And why are we doing what we are doing is something that I would like to also explain is because you're all from the space industry, you do understand the problem of the right share. Just to give you a few numbers, it takes 6 months to build a satellite is what we've understood from a lot of customers, but it also takes 2 years to launch it. We want to reduce the timeline and actually give it in 2 weeks. That's exactly what we want to do. At the same time, we also want to make sure we give the complete authority to the customer to decide when they want to launch and how much they want to launch, and also pay for how much they're willing to launch. That's exactly what we're trying to do here. And which allows us to actually bring us a lot of configurations in terms of modularity, because that's exactly what we've kept as a key integral in our design itself. The reasons that why we are doing all of these things is to make sure the customer is happy. At the same time, we also meet the timeline and also have the ability to launch rapidly. That is, we are targeting a timeline of around 2 weeks. How we do that? We configure the engines accordingly to the mass of the payload. That's exactly what was the first point. So we allow the customers to choose accordingly to the payload mass, a configuration of 4 engines to 7 engines, which also allows us to target customers from 30 to 300 kgs. That is exactly what we do, allowing them to pay for exactly what it could be. One of the better things that we've done is we've developed an in-house 3D printed rocket engine, which is fully printed in one shot, which allows us to actually bring out a rocket engine in 3 days. Conventionally, it takes around 6 weeks or something like that, more than that as well. And also you have the qualification process, but this is helpful for us because we'll be able to print in 3 days and qualify and launch in the next 2 weeks itself. One of the important aspects I would say is we have our own private launch pad today and also mission control room, which allows us to dictate the timelines. Also, we are looking for a collaboration with Australia because of the geographical position that it has. We have a couple of people that we work with, that is the Southern Launch, the Space Angels, as well as Equatorial Launch as well, because we go up with this tagline of launching from anywhere. After the first few launches are done from India, we are looking for spaceports to be launched across the world, and we find Australia having a geographical advantage as well as it's a budding ecosystem is what we understand in terms of space. So we look forward to being a part there. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you so much. And what we're going to do, just as before we start, so presenters, please stay on. We're going to have a short Q&A from the audience, but also a vote of thanks from Anil. If you can come on screen, I'll share my screen. And Mr. Anil Prakash, Director General, SIA-India, just with a vote of thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you, Chris, giving me a stage. I'm really thankful to the organizer, Western Australia, for giving this opportunity, SIA-India to be the partner for this webinar and celebrating Space Day with this webinar. So at least the spirit and that cherished movement, the further flourish and it build up two nations closely. I think thank you very much for the spirit of this webinar. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude and everyone to join us today for this important discussion, Australia-India Space and Technology Opportunity for Collaboration. It has been a pleasure to witness the gathering of such a distinguished leader and expert from across the space and technology sector. First and foremost, I would like to express my deepest appreciation to all esteemed speakers for sharing their valuable insight. James Yuan, Executive Director, Innovation Emerging Sector, Department of Jobs, Tourism, Science and Innovation. Thank you, sir. Ms. Nashid Chaudhary, Investment and Trade Commissioner, India Gulf Command and Western Australia. We especially thank for Western Australia for giving us this opportunity and helping us to organize this very important webinar. I'm really thankful to Dr. Subha Pomluri, our leader, our president, and he has given a great insight about India-Australia collaboration to me. And we're really thankful to Mr. Tony Robinson, Director, International Partnership, Australia Space Agency. Thank you, sir. And I'm really thankful to our great friend, Dr. Mr. Sudhir Kumar. He's always helping us on the other side, while because ISRO now he's on the private side, so I think he will continue to have his valuable support and guidance. David Matrai, Committee Chair, Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference, Joint Managing Director, My Security Media. Thank you very much for your update about the next conference which is coming. I will like to especially thank the representative from industry who contributed significantly to this discussion by sharing their experiences, highlighting opportunities for collaboration. Then I will really thankful and really feel myself privileged. Out of 6 startups which they have given, 4 of them are SIA-India member. I'm really, it's a proud moment for me. Mr. Ruben Rajinsingam, co-founder and chief operating officer, Led Connect 3 Australia. Mr. Sanjeev Kumar, CEO and founder, Logic Fruit Technology, SIA-India member. Mr. Arian Palatal, chief operating officer, QL Space. Mr. Vinay Simba, co-founder and CEO, SkyServe, SIA member. Mr. Rajat Kulchetra, co-founder, CEO, Space Machine Company, SIA-India member. Mr. Srinath Ravichandran, co-founder and CEO, Agnikul Cosmal. Mr. Mohit is replaced by is our member. As a knowledge partner of Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference, SIA-India remains committed to strengthening international collaboration, particularly with Australia, to advance space technology and drive innovation. We believe that future of the Indo-Pacific region depends on our collective ability to leverage shared strength, address common challenges, and seize emerging business-to-business opportunities. Looking ahead, I encourage everyone to participate in the upcoming Indo-Pacific Space and Science Conference in November, and the event promises to further enhance collaboration between India and Australia, foster regional partnership, and drive innovation, solution, and future of space technology. Thank you all once again for your valuable participation, contribution to the webinar. I'm really thankful to Mr. Chris Cubbage for walk us through all this webinar. Thank you very much for your excellent moderation and keeping up the time management. I'm looking forward to some of you, Australian space industry people, to see you at the Bangalore Space Expo in the month of September. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Prakash, Director General, SIA-India. And just to the audience, that does conclude the actual session, and we do naturally welcome you to Perth, 25th to the 29th of November for WA Space Week. Now, we do have some questions here, so for the audience who wish to just stay on for a short Q&A, we will run that now, and but otherwise, thank you very much for attending. We've got a question here for nanomaterials manufacturing company in India. Do any of the companies see opportunities within the space segment for nano manufacturing? Anyone want to take that? I'll put that open.
I think
no takers.
I think Indian Institute of Science has a nanotechnology lab, and also there are 2-3 nanotechnology companies working out of southern states of Kerala called Napo Technologies, if I got the name right. They should be able to I think the collaboration with the Indian Institute of Science and with that institute should be a great starting point to explore this collaboration.
We're happy to please connect with us. We're happy to take it further their question, and we'd like to connect with the right kind of company in India.
Very good. Another one here.
IIT
Sorry?
Mumbai also has got the facility for developing the Center of Nanosciences, that is the institute. IISc, of course, leading. Indian Institute of Sciences, Bangalore is leading. But Indian Institute of Technology, Mumbai has also got a similar facilities. They're also interested to take up any R&D projects or let us say collaboration, proposals. They're ready to receive. If you once connect, I'll suggest Anilji to, I'll just send the focal points to Anilji. He will just connect them together.
Very good. I think the short answer there is yes, there's definitely opportunity for nanomaterials manufacturing. We've got here one from Australia, from the ANU InSpace, or Institute of Space, for both Australian and Indian colleagues. What are some of the challenges you have noticed in terms of finding and establishing collaborative opportunities, and what sort of measures can enhance space diplomacy between India and Australia? Maybe SIA-India might want to take that, just in terms of some of the challenges or opportunities there for collaboration.
Udaiji, you want to answer it?
See, there is a framework in space mechanism now exists. If at all any company, because they have opened it to the foreign countries also. First is you need not to go around and look for the people who can collaborate with you. First is we should know what kind of collaboration that you require. There is a consultancies available. There is an opportunity available to connect to the industry. There are some kind of requirements are there with the Indian Space Research Organizations also for payload development. And space situational awareness is another emerging area where Australia is very positively hosting several telescopes and radars, either in the Adelaide region or Western Australia region or Cocos Island or Christmas Island. So such kind of opportunities are open. If we specifically know which domain this help or this cooperation you are looking for, we can connect with the correct people.
I think that's the challenge, isn't it? It's so broad. You really need to be defined as much as you can. There was a second question there, and this is from Anupam from the ANU, to SkyServe and to Logic Fruit. Have you tested your hardware for radiation? And if so, where? And otherwise, there's a pitch there to go to the NSQN. So ANU is putting their hand up. Have you tested your systems for radiation?
Yes, vibration, radiation testing. These are qualified edge computing systems. They're already set to be launched. They're integrated with the satellite as well. We're just waiting for the PSLV C-59 to take that to space. And the previous ones we have also tested in the other two flights as well. So yeah.
Yes, I think you're quite advanced in your missions. Logic Fruit, Sanjeev?
No? My apologies. I completely missed the question. I'm sorry.
Just have you tested for radiation effects on your hardware?
No. We are not. We have not done any radiation testing as such in any of our systems till now, because none of our system has actually gone into space yet. Yep.
Okay, well, there's a hand up here from ANU InSpace. We would like to have a chat to you down the line. There's another question here for Ruben. What are the wavelength centres of the 4 SWIR bands and their bandwidths? Are you able to give that information?
Yeah, hi, Chris. I just messaged Carsten as well. If you could follow me on this offline, that would be good. Yeah.
Good.
Thanks.
Anything commercial in confidence, take it offline direct, but that's part of the opportunity. You get bonus points for commercial in confidence questions. Anything there, Ariane? Maybe your eyes lit up in terms of the challenges for collaboration. How did you go with collaboration to your Indian partners?
I think we didn't necessarily have any challenges to establishing the partnerships. I think our challenge has been in acquiring the funding to be able to take the partnerships further. But I think if you're looking for kind of opportunities, I would definitely recommend any of the trade delegations that regularly happen to India. We've been the beneficiary of the work that Nasheed has done, but also the ICC India Australia trade delegation last year. So I think really, making sure that you're kind of taking the time to go and visit partners and have face-to-face meetings is really important.
And Anil, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, one common challenge, not only within India and Australia, we found most of the countries also within India are having the right kind of a industry database. So this is the biggest challenge to map what are the industry capabilities. So SIA-India is already, I think this has been encouraged by none other than Mr. Sunil Kumar. We are now building a database of over 500 companies. These 500 companies are the large ones, MSME and the startups. These we are building up. There's 25, 24 main domain and 140 subdomain. So we are in the process. 25% of our survey is completed. We hope that within the next 2 months we'll be able to complete. And we also encourage our counterpart SIA Australia to also look into building a database. Once our piece is complete, we will link up with the international industry database. So I think that will be easy for the people to map with each other, find the capabilities, whether they want to procure, they want to sell, they want to collaborate, or they want to invest. It's a one-stop shop for everyone. So this is information to share.
Thank you. And I think those in-persons make all the difference. I was able to go in 2019 on a cybersecurity mission to India, and it makes all the difference to get on the ground there. And likewise, there's a good Indian diaspora here in Australia. Okay, I think Nasheed has put her details there as well. If anyone else, there's a couple of exchanges there on the chat. That is wonderful. That's the idea here. I think given in time, we were going to give this 2 hours anyway, so we set ourselves 90 minutes. We've gone over time, but with interesting questions. We'll close off this particular session. Anything else, please reach out to us, David, Maitreya or I, and otherwise we will see you, I hope, in Perth for Space Week there in November. Thank you very much. Thank you to all of our presenters today. Anil Prakash, for his vote of thanks, has given you all a group thanks, and particularly for our supporters and partners. Thank you very much today, and thank you very much for attending. We'll close off the session.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.